Peace, everybody. What's going on with fam? We are in the building. Welcome to Aboriginal Global Media, and welcome to our presentation today on RH Factor Myths Debunked. This was actually a request from one of my sisters, and I'm thankful that she asked me to do this. And I do encourage you at your own convenience, if you have specific lectures that you want to be covered on Patreon or on the membership YouTube page, just let me know and we will go into the subject. This is my first presentation for 2024, so it's fitting because I do want to focus on building up each institution's awareness in various subjects, and it's sometimes fun to have these lives where you can ask live questions. It helps me improve the study of the Aboriginal Medical Association areas that I'm responsible for. And it's fun. You get to actually end a lot of ignorance, and ending ignorance is fun to me. I am, my birthday is on a date that likes to end ignorance. All right, so we're gonna have fun with this one and tell a little bit of history about this whole discussion. All right, because it is pertinent to us trying to figure out things, and I think we have a better way of doing that now that we have Arna, because we can work in institutions gradually to build up our knowledge in a responsible way. All right. So, what is it about RH super cosmic negative blood that's passed down by the goddess gene? Y'all probably heard some folk talking about it, various teachers talking about this rhesus monkey factor. Now, this is unique to me because, as far as I know, I was the first person teaching on RH negative super cosmic blood. And I'll give you a story to show you how crazy this can get. So, when Dr. York got locked up, his staff came to me, Dr. Malachi York of the Nuwaubian Nation, and the other various names. They came to me and they asked me to help him with his legal case. Now, at the time, I'm thinking, okay, I don't know a lot about his case. I know about his teachings, and I didn't agree with his teachings at the time, but it's cool, I'm going to look into this and see if I can help him. And so the way that they wanted me to approach the case was as if he was a diplomat, he had diplomatic immunity, etc. And so I'm reading the angle they want me to defend him on for the case that he has. Then I'm reading the details of the case. And so I'm doing my own due diligence. I'm looking online, seeing. So I saw a video of him pleading guilty to 74 counts of the crime. I don't even want to go into what the crime is. If you don't know what the crime is, it's atrocious. He pled guilty to it. And so now he wanted us, because we have a political jurisdiction and he was aware of who I am, to work on the case. And so now I started working on the case, and I'm like, this case is crazy. And then I started to get messages from the Nuwaubians about some of the things that I teach. And Doc don't agree with that, and you need to come on in and Doc, whatever. So I'm like, oh, he's filtering my teachings now. They told him about who I am, and he's filtering my teachings. So I have been teaching for years that our blood is different, but I was in an immature setting of science, meaning I was not where I am today. I was studying. And so I came across the RH factor, and because they named it after the rhesus monkey, I went right back to my NOI teachings, which said that, oh, these people are for monkeys. And so I started making the coordination between the rhesus monkey, the RH blood, and them, your Asians and Europeans being from these monkeys. And so I went crazy with it, And then Dr. York started putting it in his books. I thought, oh, that's interesting. So we kept going. And I was teaching this for years. And so I did a tour. I used to have a lot of students. And Antoine Duquesne, also known to you as Minister Inky, became one of my students in 2012. He came to one of my classes in Harlem, New York. I used to do classes at the National Black Theater in Harlem, New York on Monday nights. And so Inky came to my class, polite. They were all young and unknown at the time. And they were coming to my class. And so I was teaching that. And so they started teaching it. And so we did a tour in 2012 and 2013 called The Genetic Fear of a Black Planet. And we were teaching this stuff, And so that's where this whole rhesus monkey thing comes from. And so if you hear other people teaching it, they know for a fact that they were coming to my class or they saw me as the first person on YouTube on Sinetta. That's where they got it from. I'm talking about the thousands and thousands of people who are teaching it wrong got it from me. I am honest enough to say I was teaching some wrong information and it went viral. Unfortunately. So over the years, I've been, correcting that and saying that, it's not accurate. All right. The reason why the rhesus monkey is even associated with it is because scientists were doing experiments on rhesus monkey to understand blood plasma and other things. And so when they saw this factor, they named it after the rhesus monkey. The rhesus monkey does not even have this factor. As a matter of fact, no old world or new world monkeys, apes or primates have a RHD or RHC, RHCE antigen. We're going to get into what that means because that tells whether you are Rh positive or negative, and that means something. But there are no monkeys who even have this. The rhesus monkey doesn't have it. All right. So it's bogus. And I'm going to break down to you the bogus nature of the claim, tell you and show you in simplicity what it really is, and then take you further to the new technology that we have and that they have and what we're aware of when it comes to fixing these mutations, because that's what they are. All right. They are mutations. And so let's go into this information and make this plain. All right. So you should see my slides. I'm here. RH factor myths debunked, a scientific presentation on blood typing and its origins and functions. So let's go back to the flyer. This flyer was from February 25th, 2013. That is officially 11 years ago. I had already been teaching on this subject. I had a whole thing called the genetic crucifixion of rhesus Christ. This stuff was off the chain. We was younger, and crazy with it. That must be understood. And so this is the flyer that I made. All these images I was making, because ain't nobody going to be able to tell you nothing different or contradict what I'm saying. None of these people were teaching these things. Young Pharaoh was not teaching about no damn RH blood. He didn't know nothing about that till he heard me on Side Netter teaching about these things and doing lectures and teaching about these things. Anybody who's been around knows I'm telling the absolute truth. This is important. I have to correct this now, though, for the sake of having the science correct. All right. And so what were we using at the time? I'm leading you into what was leading us into the wrong thinking and which can lead you into the right thinking. We were studying indigenous records and evolution to try to come to conclusions. And what we were finding is various classical indigenous civilizations described what we are calling hominids today. Various types of hominids. And they discuss these old world monkeys as well, which are variations of two different things. And so when we talk about the Vanara in the Indus Kush civilization that was talked about, that was a big part of what I had been already studying for about 6 years. And so I was studying that, and I was deep into the anti-aging, but from a biological standpoint and a nutrition standpoint, I had not encountered the genetics in the sense of taking courses and getting equipment and all of that until about 2015, 16. All right. And so by the time I got to the genetics, I knew all of what I was saying was wrong. That's why y'all saw me quiet for a few years. I wasn't on no damn YouTube or nothing. 2016, I wasn't really around like that. If I was talking about other things, doing honor stuff in 2017. And so now we're studying all of this stuff and relating it to indigenous culture. I was on the anti-aging stuff. This is a flyer. You can see I had the website dralimuhammad.com. I haven't had that name in a long time. It shows you, this is a slide from one of those old lectures. And this is 12 years ago. All right. I was 36 at the time. I'm 48 now. But this is me at 20. That's my cousin, CJ. And that's me and my oldest son now. All right. So he's 16 now. But I was on the anti-aging study. And so this is our subject. RH factor. And it is associated with the blood groupings as well. So let's go to RH. And then I'm going to talk to you about blood, because you need to understand how blood is made versus how you have been taught it's made. RH factor is an inherited protein. Stop. It is, now this is me taking this from online, and I'm going to show you how mistakes can be made. You don't inherit proteins, you inherit genes. And genes make proteins. So you say, well, Brother Ali, that means you can inherit proteins. No, because when you get those genes from your parents, there is remodeling that takes place. And sometimes it doesn't produce the protein in the same way. That's why you don't look just like your parents. You're not a clone of your parents. You are offspring with unique epigenetic markers on the genetics, some of which they don't have. So you make some of your own S&Ps, and your body modifies those S&Ps uniquely to you. That is important. So Rh factor is an inherited gene sequence that produces proteins found on the surface, surface membranes of red blood cells. If your blood has the protein, you're Rh positive. If your blood doesn't have the protein, you're Rh negative. So here you have representations of ligands on the surface of a red blood cell versus negative, where you have none of these. That's already giving you an indication that Rh negative means something is wrong. And it does mean something is wrong if it's not making these receptors, because these receptors are important. So let me scroll down a little bit so we can deal with some numbers here. Population data for Rhd factor and Rhd negative allele. So African Americans, 93% of African Americans who have given blood throughout the history of time in the United States have been calculated to be 93% Rh positive and 7% Rh negative. That's already giving you the indication of some things that are going on. All right. And you see, Europeans have more instances of Rh negative. Britain. So you see these variances, and they mean a lot as we go into the discussion. It is a fact that almost all of our people are Rh positive. If you are Rh negative, you have a mutation, and it is an adverse mutation, but you can fix it. You can fix it. And this is where we elevate the conversation as we go. All right, let's go back. This is the sequence of the variations of the types of genotypes, which RHD and RHCE being the primary two, and these other ones being what you call ammonia transporters. So what actually is RH? I'm going to make this so simple for you so you understand this. Rh positive means you have these receptors on your red blood cells. Rh negative means you don't. What is Rh positive then? If you have the receptors, it is an ion channel. That's huge. What is an ion channel? Ion channels are pore-forming membrane proteins that allow ions, electrons, electrolytes, isotopic minerals, or elements from the periodic table to pass through the channel pore. I'm going to tell you exactly why they're doing that. Because every cell is a battery. You know how you put a battery in something and it stores electricity in the battery based on it having a positive and a negative charge, and it can send that charge into anything to make it operate. Classy West, I appreciate you, but you don't know what you're talking about. This RH factor has nothing to do with a rhesus monkey. I'm sorry. It has absolutely nothing to do with a rhesus monkey. You are wrong. So Classy West is saying I'm RH negative. No, it's nothing wrong with the RH negative people. We're just not related to the rhesus monkey. That is pseudoscience. That is not accurate. You cannot prove that with any lab testing. You don't even know why it's being called RH factor and named after the rhesus monkey. It has nothing to do with the rhesus monkey because the rhesus monkey doesn't even have any RH factors that are associated with the humans that we're talking about. And there's no one who could tell you differently. No disrespect to you either. I'm just correcting you for being absolutely wrong. And I love you, so I don't want you out here repeating ignorant things. All right, I'm here to help. All right, so ion channels allow for the function of a cell like a battery. The battery has a charge on the inside of the cell membrane, and there is external charge on the outside because this is inside of a pressurized water environment. And this is how the cells are going to work. And the ion channels are important because they deal with paracrine cell operation, which is how cells talk to each other. And this conversation gets very, very complex, but it's also very simple. It's the reason why you feel high when you smoke weed is ion channels. It is also the reason why you have the difference between a skin cell and a liver cell, because the cells are talking and they recognize we're liver cells and they recognize that we're skin cells. And it is the key to understanding how cancer takes over the body, because ion channels must be destroyed in order for cancer to have its impact. And it's done through epigenetic activity. All right. And so, yes, every human being on Earth can catch a virus. We just have different responses to it. So please, you need to chill. Every human being on Earth can have interaction with the virus. All right. That's ludicrous that you don't catch viruses. Yeah. All right. I'm going to show that it makes you more susceptible. All right. And you just don't understand that. All right. So ion channels. The D antigen is inherited as one gene, the RHD gene, and the RHD gene is an autosomal gene, meaning it's not on the Y chromosome and it's not on the X chromosome. It can be shared by matrilineally or patrilineally. I know some of y'all might have heard some people saying, "Oh, the blood is determined by the mother and it comes down." No. That's completely inaccurate. Your chromosomes in the process of you being created, you have a Y that you can possibly get from your father or an X, and you have what we're calling an X you can get from your mother. And all the rest of the genes are what you call autosomes. They mix. So one will be recessive and one will be dominant. But you'll have two alleles. You have one from the father, one from the mother. Let's say your father has an O allele for O blood type and your mother has an O allele. All right. You got a dominant O and a recessive O. But you could also have your father having AB blood type with an AB allele and your mother having O. That means that you have a dominant AB and a non-dominant O. But what's going to happen when you go and selectively mate, if you have AB as the dominant and O as the recessive, if you go to a man and he has two O's, that child is going to resort to having an O allele from both parents. So now the body wants to heal itself. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And we can selectively mate and use nutrigenomics, supplementation, and other sciences to help correct these problems. No, you don't inherit more genes from your mother than your father. That would make you have Down syndrome or some other chromosomal alterating disease. You inherit equal genes from the father and the mother. All right, that's important. Equal chromosomes. All right, and then on the chromosomes you have genes. But yeah, okay. So that means that's a good example. Moonraka says my father is A and my mother is O, and I ended up with O. So let me explain, because you just verified what I said. Your father is A, but your father has two alleles from his parents, an A allele and an O allele. Your mother has two O's. So you came up O positive because you got the O allele recessive from your father and the O allele dominant from your mother. And now your children will never have that A, which that's a good thing. Right. Through the process of mating, that's important. Through the process of mating, the body healed itself. No, you can't give anyone in Classy West, if you have O negative blood, you cannot give everybody in the world blood. An Rh positive person will develop antibodies to your Rh negative blood, and it's not going to happen. So we're dealing with the ABO blood system, and we're dealing with the Rh factor, which are two separate things, all dealing with the blood. You can't just give blood to anybody. It will cause a reaction. All right. They're constantly wanting you to donate your blood because of the mutations there and the people who need that particular blood. That's a rare blood type, so they don't have a lot of it. So that's why they want you to donate your blood, because there's a low amount of people on the planet that have that, and so they need more blood donated. All right. No, that's absolutely not correct. I mean, y'all just saying stuff, but I'm gonna just let y'all. I try to address the crowd just so that it doesn't become a pseudo fest. All right. So it's an ion channel. So let me show you what an ion channel looks like, so you can understand. There are 4 types of channels on the surface of a cell. You have, let's go through them. Enzyme link receptors, all right, like tyrosine kinase receptors. And so they are interacting with all of the tyrosine family of molecules. Then you have GPCR receptors, all right? Then you have ion channels. You see these little pluses and minuses here, all right? And then you have lipophilic ligands, which is what vitamin D is. All right, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. It's in a fat. It can diffuse through the membrane. This is what they used in the COVID-19 vaccine. They used a lipid nanoparticle to transport the mRNA because it, unlike the other three, does not require permission to diffuse through the cell wall. It can get there because fats are able to diffuse through the membrane without having to have what's called a ligand, which is basically like a key. And so Rh factor on the surface of red blood cells deals with the exchange of ions. And without that receptor there, now you don't have that going on. So what's going to happen is we have two diverse things that are happening here. When you interact with anybody, the majority of the population that is Rh positive, or they interact with you, your body is going to produce antibodies. Their body is going to produce antibodies because now it's a part of you that is considered foreign to each other. And a simple immunity. And so an Rh positive mother who gets pregnant by Rh negative father, her antibodies will begin to attack the child. And the same in reverse. An Rh negative mother who has a Rh positive father, she will have to take Rogam or some other immune suppressant, an immune suppressant medication so that this attack won't happen. All right. All right. So let's go back. See this again. Receptors, not receptors. That's the example I just gave. This is an Rh positive baby, Rh negative mother. That's going to lead to a problem once the antibodies start to diffuse through. It will cause hemolytic disorders of the blood. All right. And the baby can get attacked and the baby can die. All right. But let's go back to blood and its creation, just to give you some data. This is a scientist, Dr. Kishe Morishita, and he did outstanding research at Tokyo Medical University way back in the 30s and 40s, where he proved that our understanding of where blood comes from is not universal, meaning his studies showed, as he started to look at variations amongst ethnic groups, that blood was being made in the liver and the intestines in higher rates than other groups. And these other groups we can identify by their bone masses, because there is blood made in the bone, but there are groups, mainly Asians and Africans, who make it in their liver and their intestines. The reason why you find higher bone density in indigenous people, now labeled as African Americans and Africans, is because that group is producing more blood in other parts of the body and are not going through what I call a skeletal hemorrhage. A skeletal hemorrhage is when you have a majority of your blood being made from the bones. It weakens the bones. So any anatomist or physiologist will tell you that the melanin dominant people have denser bones, and it has everything to do with this process of the making of blood and vitamin D, which is going to come up later when we start talking about healing this particular remedy and healing all of the 7,000 diseases that are based on codon mutations in the gene code. All right. So Dr. Kishe Morishita, majoring in blood physiology. Dr. Morishita did his undergraduate work at Tokyo Medical University, where he graduated in 1930. In 1935, he received his Doctor of Medicine degree and was later appointed assistant professor of physiology at the same university. In 1937, he taught at the dental school of the university. In 1944, became technical chief for Tokyo Red Cross Blood Center. Dr. Morishita is presently a member of the Physiology Association of Japan, president of Life Sciences Association, vice president of the New Blood Association. These are some of the books that he has written. You can get those books. All right. Blood not made in the bone marrow, blood made in the intestines. And he goes through all this talk about hematopoiesis, which is the making of blood cells. All right. So this is really important. The strength of the blood, the receptors, the constitution of the strength of the blood is directly connected to what we call nutrigenomics. All right. And what is an antigen? Because if Rh negative people have antigens to Rh positive people, and Rh positive people have antigens toward Rh negative people, we need to know what it is. A toxin or foreign substance which induces an immune response in the body, especially the production of antibodies. In the sense of blood, they are molecules that cause an immune response because they are foreign to the body they have entered. All right. So let's go back and remind ourselves. Most of us are Rh positive. This is the natural state of the blood. This is the mutation. So let's go through the mutation. All right, here we go. The Rh positive protein is 417 amino acids. It's made from 37 nucleotides that are a part of a gene structure. When you are Rh negative, you are missing those nucleotides and you are missing those amino acids. They are not there, or the gene code is either deleted, deleterious, that's what we call it, or it's present, but all the codons are there, so there's not enough to make the receptor. Therefore, you don't have those ion channels. And what is that going to lead to? Let's go back to our old buddy, Arnold Ehret. This is where Dr. Sebi took his idea and concept that mucus was the cause of disease, which is absolutely false. Mucus is not the cause of disease. In fact, mucus helps us avoid disease when you know what mucus is. But what we're talking about here is histamines, if we're talking. And so the phlegm and the stuff that you get in your lungs and other places when you drink milk and dairy, that's a histamine reaction. That's not mucus. Mucus is the fluid that lines the epithelial lining of your digestive tract, all your organs, your brain, etc. And that mucus lining is your first line of defense. And when you eat like Arnold Ehret tells you to eat, that mucus lining does start to disappear. You do start to atrophy. And when you start to atrophy, when you see somebody getting real skinny on the inside, on the outside, they're getting skinny on the inside and they're losing their epithelial lining because they don't have enough stem cells, because they don't have enough protein in their diet to assimilate stem cells. And so let's read what he said, because this is going to get us into beyond the genotype that I just discussed into the phenotype. In 1926, Arnold Ehret had this to say of his own race in the mucusless diet healing system. In my first published article, I promulgated the gigantic idea that the white race is an unnatural, a sick, a pathological one. Now, he's white saying this. First, the colored skin pigment is lacking due to a lack of coloring mineral salts. He's talking about minerals now. Second, the blood is continually overfilled by white blood corpuscles, mucus, waste with white color, therefore the white appearance of the entire body. The skin of the white man are constipated by white, dry mucus. His entire tissue system is filled up and filled out with it. No wonder that he looks white and pale. Now, the part that's here is most important, anemic. Anemic. Everybody knows that an extreme case of paleness is a bad sign. when I appeared with my friend in a public air bath after having lived for several months on a mucusless diet with sun baths, we look like Indians, and people believe that we belong to another race. So what was he doing? He wasn't eating the trash, dairy, and flesh, and he was doing sun baths. That is the point that I wanted to make. The sun. Because when we get to healing this RH factor, the sun is going to play the major role. Because the sun does something that nothing else can do efficiently, and it is the key to correcting genetic mutations. So they believe that we belong to another race. This condition was doubtless due to the great amount of red blood corpuscles and the great amount of white blood corpuscles, and the great lack of white blood corpuscles. All right, so now what he's saying is he improved his red blood cells through sunbathing and nutrition. And he didn't even look white anymore. He started to look like an Indian. Indian in the sense of Indian, East Indian. Interesting. Let's take a look at the world map. Where do we find the highest consistency of O blood type? The Americas. This is important because O is the universal donor, and RH is a part of that universal donor. RH positive is a part of that universal donor network. We're walking ourselves gently. So now we know where the blood is made. Let's go further into where the blood is made. This is the scientific term you need to understand the blood that is made in the intestines and the liver. It's called extramedullary hematopoiesis. Extramedullary hematopoiesis. Now, this is super important. Your liver is the organ that regenerates faster than any other organ, and that is because of the high content of stem cells present and the high content of red blood cells present. And the red blood cells in their native state, that's why your liver has this maroonish purple red color to it, because that's what color the blood is supposed to be. By the time it gets red, like we have it, all right, you're saying, oh, it's exposed to oxygen. That's partly true, but we should have a deeper colored blood with a higher nutrition ratio. And it is connected to the receptors that I'm talking about in the O blood grouping and the RH positive blood grouping. And we're going to get to this because we're dealing with electricity. Remember I said the cell ion channels control the positive and negative charge on either side of the cell membrane. So what you have is a bunch of batteries. That's important. Now, what happens when we have increased blood flow? We have increased blood flow. We have increased nutrients to all part of the organs, muscles, soft tissue organs, brain, etc. When we have slow blood flow, we have decreased nutrients in the form of oxygen, iron, etc. to the tissues. So we should know that we want increased blood flow. And in order to have increased blood flow, the ion channels on the red blood cells must be able to keep a negative charge on that membrane. And in order to keep that negative charge so that the red blood cells are bouncing off of each other, all right? When they're bouncing off of each other, When the cells are bouncing off of each other, that is what you call electrostatic blood. That means the circulation is great. The men who have erectile dysfunction, a part of your problem besides the hormonal problem is that you're not getting this electrostatic blood flow to your penis. And so therefore, that negative charge is not present in this way that it's supposed to be. And that has everything to do with your matrix of ion channels. And the RH factor system is one of the ion receptors. And when you're missing these receptors, meaning you're RH negative, you're missing the ability to control the charge on red blood cells. That is going to lead to variations of types of anemia. Genetically inborn. And so now you're going to have to work on improving that particular condition. All right. So let's keep going. I'm walking you down on this so you can understand it. We got the receptors again. We know what an ion channel is. We know that RH plus means you have the ion channels. RH negatives means you don't. So let's look at hemolytic anemia. Is a form of anemia due to hemolysis, the abnormal breakdown of red blood cells, either in blood vessels or elsewhere in the body. Now they start to fold over. So all of these are associated. We can go over to a cousin disease called sickle cell anemia. And what do we have on sickle cell anemia? We have the issue of the missing nucleotide valine, which causes the red blood cell to lose its convex nature and it falls over. It sickles because it can't not maintain the charge. So when you start having missing gene codes and therefore missing ability to make protein receptors, etc., you are going to start to impact the strength of the red blood cells. All right. That's important for you to understand. And if you don't understand what I'm saying, that's okay. You're going to have to keep studying. All right. But don't be adverse in the chat just because you don't understand. We're here to study. All right. Because some of you are trolls. And I don't want to get into that today because I don't deal with that. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's go to this guy, the rhesus monkey. It is important for you to understand that calling it the rhesus monkey factor is absolutely unscientific because none of you can go test a rhesus monkey yourself, or you can look at any journal, and no rhesus monkey on earth has a RHD gene or a RHCE gene. Neither does a chimpanzee, neither does a gorilla, neither does a orangutan. None of them have this gene code. So we're not talking about no associations to no rhesus monkey at all. So the fact that science made a mistake and calls it RH factor and people repeat it means that people believe in science without the ability to vet or check science. That's why in my terminology, when I'm teaching the courses, I make sure to make the people understand our nomenclature is not like theirs. We don't even call this RH factor. All right. We call this ion factor because that's exactly ion channel, IC factor. That's exactly what it is when we get into the genetics course. Calling it RH factor is an indication of the mistake that people are making in their assessment and diagnosis of what we're even talking about. It has absolutely nothing to do with a rhesus monkey whatsoever. Everybody teaching that is because of the ignorance of following without the ability to vet. That's important. All right, let's keep going. Here we go. Rhesus monkeys don't even get hemolytic disease because they don't have any of these factors. So hemolytic disease of newborns, HDN, they don't even get it. Humans can get it, and rhesus monkeys absolutely don't get it. That's important. All right, let's keep going. So now let's go here, because what we're dealing with now is we're going to talk about the genes, but we have to talk about what makes up the nucleotides. This is what makes up the nucleotides. All right. Any nucleotide you see is going to have some carbon in it. It's going to have some various things in it that build from atomic and molecular structures. How these things are put together is important. And what you eat is important. How you exercise is important because it affects this, what you're looking at, and what you're looking at is nature. Nature is the elements of creation. And a designer can guide those elements via a causation point to get an effect. That's why we have to take responsibility for what happens to us as a people, and we can't take responsibility being ignorant. To be an ignorant god or goddess is to suffer the consequences. As the supreme being of your own destiny, you must learn and learn accurately so you get better outcomes. And so all of these molecules that you see getting together to later form peptides and RH factors and O blood groupings, these have a natural organization in nature. And there are things that have happened that have caused that natural order to be disturbed. And these are some of the things that disturb or help the genome. Nutrition, diet. Diet can help or disturb the genome. It can help or disturb blood types over short and long-term periods. Psychological state, which affects the neurology and the hormones. If you are constantly stressed, constantly combative in the sense of not having fun with it, but we can have competition and have fun. But your psychological state, if you're stressed out about things, you are going to depreciate the strength of your genetics through epigenetic modulation. Social interactions. It's interesting that they have a white and a black hand here. I'm not going to front on this conversation. You engaging in intimate relations with people who have higher concentrations of sulfur and nitrogen in their biome is going to be adverse to you. It's important for you to understand that. We are made different. And you have to heighten the awareness of what those differences are so you can protect your own biome. Alternative medicine. How many of us are supplementing? The worst thing you could be doing right now in a world where they're depreciating the strength of agriculture, therefore depreciating the nutrients in food, is not know how to supplement. You need to learn how to supplement. We have videos on the Patreon and the YouTube page for the members about supplementation. Therapeutic drugs. Here we go with the problems. Oh, we're going to help you with this, but it has 20 side effects. And one of them is death. One of them is loss of hair. Oh, that means that if you are disturbing protein synthesis, you're disturbing genes. And you're not telling me that. Because hair is transcribed as a protein from the instructions of genes. And if I'm not making the hair, wow. Your microbiome, which is a huge part. This is why we compost. This is why we keep a higher carbon ratio in the soil, because the microbes, and there are millions and trillions of them in your body, on your body, around your body, they love carbon. They love carbon molecular structures. They love when you die because they are going to now help break down those structures. They live in your gut. Let's try this and go a little bit higher. They live in the clouds. And I'm not talking about the cloud on your computer. I'm telling you that there are microparticles in the clouds that help with the growing of things in nature. Isn't it interesting that when most of us who are 35 or older can remember the blackberries and the grapes and the muscadines and all of this stuff growing wild all around us all the time, wild apple trees in the South and all of that. Don't you remember that? Guess why that's not happening anymore? The reason why it's not happening anymore is because of one major phenomenon: chemtrails. Chemtrails are destroyed. Let me heighten your awareness. The purpose of chemtrails, one of the purposes, is to destroy the bacteria that are in clouds that make the soil and the trees and the fruit blooming and flower blooming occur in nature. This is why you see way less flowers than you saw in the 80s, in the 90s, right now, because of chemtrails. And that is affecting your microbiome, because if we live in these cities and they are spraying the chemtrails in the clouds, it's coming down, it's getting into the, you get what I'm trying to say. And so now your microbiome controls genetics. I'm even going to talk about CRISPR-Cas9, which is a technology they are using with a Cas9 enzyme from a bacteria to gene edit and heal disease. There's no one, even from the medical standpoint of their allopathic medicine, 5 years from now, there should be no one with sickle cell, because you can gene edit the improper signature for that codon and get the valine back into the synthesis so that you get a healthy red blood cell that is free from sickle cell, at least. That gene editing technology in vitro and in vivo is already present. But I have things in the microbiome when the carbon ratios are higher that help us with this gene editing technology that we naturally have in our body. Exercise. Listen, if I don't tell you nothing else, I'm going to say this and it might hurt. Exercise is more important than nutrition. I'm going to say it again. Exercise is more important than nutrition. Exercise is more important than nutrition. If you are not moving your body and creating circulation, I don't care what you eat, the nutrients aren't even getting there in a higher ratio. You need to move your body. You need to move your body. You need to move. And what does this have to do with your blood? Everything. Because the first organ that picks up in contractions and operation is what? The heart, which is connected to all of these valves, arteries, and veins, which is pushing what through it? Blood. We talked about hemolytic disease, which is the inability to break down red blood cells properly. It will lead to jaundice. It will lead to liver and kidney disorders. So you can't come up to me telling me that a blood cell with less ion channels, Rh negative has less ion channels, is superior to a red blood cells, Rhd positive, O positive, which has more ion cells. You can't tell me Rh negative is some way physiologically superior or more functional than Rhd positive. It's already been tested. This is why I'm putting the information in the most simplest form for you to get you to understand. And I'm going to give you some remedy. We're getting there. But exercise, the proper use of glucose, circulation, the decrease of free-flowing glucose so that the serotonin genes can be activated. DNA repair enzymes can be activated via exercise. Exercise makes cells talk to each other more. And the basis of everything in this universe is the ability to communicate. I'm going to say that again. If you violate the principle of communication networks in this universe, you start to die. And exercise is the thing that makes cells talk to each other the most. Yaki is wrong. He said the heart does not contract or pump. Lord have mercy. All right, y'all. Y'all can listen to who y'all want to listen to. You know. Yeah. That gets crazy. But anyway, back to the point. Exercise makes our cells talk to each other. It opens the paracrine operations, and it is creating the ion channel gap junctions, ion channel communication networks. And so we need to understand that. Got to move your body. All right. Financial status, huge. When your economics is messed up, you might not be able to get the healthier food. You might not be in a place where you have access to the healthier food. It might give you more stress. And the basis of healthy financial status is the family. The more people you have working, bringing income into a place, the better. The more networked you are to people, the better. Financial status can have you in cortisol, stress hormone release, damaging the body's tissues, which is shutting down DNA repair, which I'm about to get to. Drugs of abuse. We know what drugs does to the body. Cigarettes. We know what this stuff does to the body. Disease exposure, pathogens. Water that's not clean or water that has forever chemicals, PFASs. And you saying you can't afford a $25 filter from Walmart to take out the forever chemicals. All right. Weather, cold weather. You live in Chicago, you live in New York, you live in Seattle, you live in these cold places, and you're not getting enough UVB radiation to stimulate the vitamin D I'm about to talk about. It's not happening. So what do we need? We need the ability to understand healing in the body. This is just one example. Hydroxytyrosol, which is found in olives and olive oil, one of the most potent antioxidants on the planet, can help in DNA repair. So let's look at how DNA repair happens. Let's look at it from the sense of the Western world, and then I'm going to get into this vitamin D. What are repair factors? All right, you have something. Now, this is to work on, let's say we were working on RH factor. So now let's go back. What's missing? Okay, there are 37 nucleotides missing or mutated, and therefore they can't make the 417 amino acids, which build the actual receptors, which are ion channels, which allow the red blood cells to communicate better with each other, which gives them their negative charge so that the blood flow can be optimal. When that's not there, it's not there, or it's mutated. So what do we do with a Cas9 system? Okay, with the Cas9 system, you have what's called guided RNA. So we sequence the mutation, meaning we know the code of the lettering and which letter is off. This is cut and paste, guys. This is dope science. We're going to show you how it happens naturally with vitamin D, but this is with the CRISPR-Cas9 system. They will take, let's say if there's 20 sequences of nucleotides, right? Now we got a match. Now all we got to do is guide the RNA with the Cas9 enzyme, which comes from a specific type of bacteria, to a particular spot on the DNA. And that spot is called a spacer region. A spacer region is the place where there's missing nucleotides, altogether missing, or they're jumbled, and now they're not making the proper protein, which is tissue. So we're going to use in vitro or in vivo science, and guess what they do? They're going to take the Cas9 enzyme and the guide RNA and put it in an adenovirus. And by putting it in the adenovirus, they're going to invade the cell. Wow. Now, here's the thing. This actually works. This actually works. Because now what they're going to do is they're going to take out the genetics inside of the virus that is pathogenic. Technically, it's not a virus anymore. It's just a host to take this inside of the cell. They perfected this with the COVID-19 vaccination by finding out the one thing that they needed to know. And Robert Malone did not make the virus or the spike protein. He did not make that. What did he make? He made the lipid nanoparticle that allowed for lipophilic ligand distribution across the cell. And so now they're going to take a virus, put it in, has to be put in a lipid format or host or envelope, and they're going to get it into the cell, and the Cas9 and the guide RNA is going to go to where there's jumbled letters or none, and they are now going to insert it. Once they connect to a protospacer adjative motif, a PAM sequence, right, it's done. The mutation of any type can be extracted and the proper coding can be put in. And then another DNA repair template can be added, meaning they can add adenines, guanines, other antioxidants, whatever it is they want to add, in order to help repair the DNA. Now, guess what they have to do for it to work? They have to get the cells to talk to each other. And what do cells need to talk to each other? Gap junctions and ion channels. And so this is important for you to understand how this is happening, because your body actually does this on its own. So let's talk about how your body does this on its own. Your body does this through vitamin D. Vitamin D has those same PAM sequences and indel identifications where it can comb through the genome, because it is a steroidal hormone. It's not a vitamin. And it can comb through these areas to clip, copy, paste, repair. And how is it doing that? How is it doing that? Here's the secret. They told you that the secret to alchemy was what? What was the secret to alchemy? Turning baser metals into gold. I'm going to give you the secret. The gold is the sun. And the sun is not a gas, not a gaseous sphere, and it's not even a plasma as understood. The sun is liquid metals that lead all the way up to iron. There are no metals above iron on the sun. And how you know you have to have iron on the sun is that you cannot have an induced magnetic field without it. That's what induces the magnetic field. Liquid iron. Oh! Got you. Got you. Liquid iron. Now, let's go back. Let's go back to the indigenous science, as a matter of fact. If the sun, if what, now this has been proven by a scientist. So again, just like you have RH factor, and they think it was rhesus monkey, you got a whole bunch of astronomers still teaching that the sun is a gaseous plasma planet. That's an absolute lie. And I'm going to go over in one of these lectures on here proving that the sun is a liquid, not by my research, by other scientists who have proven that the sun is a liquid mass of metals, with iron being important. Let's go back down to that last slide. Now, this is from our coursework. What do you learn? You learn the 5 components and the 5 conditions. I can look at this is why I can look at a birth chart, never met the person. I can tell them all of their potential health problems that they will encounter their whole life. Because we understand that we live in a fractal universe, and that we say it all the time, but we don't understand it. As above, so below. No, that's real. And we have supersymmetry that we can use to accomplish this. So the sun equals blood. The blood plasma is the fractal representation of material in the body, the heart, and the blood, as the sun is to the solar system. And the sun is literally liquid iron with other metals. But liquid, what else is liquid iron? Blood. Blood is liquid iron. And what does iron deal with? Iron is a metal and becomes a trace mineral in the body. And iron deals with magnetic fields and ions. Gotcha. Gotcha. Then we go right back to our sun and what it's doing to vitamin D. How is vitamin D response element smart enough to know where to go? GPS coordinates. I'm about to blow your mind now. GPS coordinates to go to specific points on a genome and tell, wait a minute, this part of the genome needs editing. How is vitamin D3 and vitamin D response element able to do that? It's able to do that because of the induced magnetic field. It has a GPS correspondence. First of all, your whole body has GPS. Let's call it BPS. They got global positioning satellites. We got body positioning satellites. And the satellites are the cell receptors and the charge and the sound that they emit. I already went over for free on YouTube to show you that all receptors change shape, conformations, and they make sounds. This is why we're telling you that the sun is liquid, because once you understand it's a liquid and it goes up to iron, you also understand that the sun is a musical instrument. And it's the loudest musical instrument in creation. So not only are you getting light rays from the sun, you're getting sound waves. And if your symphony receptors are not attuned to the sun, you're going to get sick. And so how do you get them attuned to the sun? You take your black ass out and lay and exercise and live in the sun. What happens to people in Chicago who get less vitamin D3 and they're doing prostate studies to see the increase of prostate cancer amongst them? Oh, the vitamin D, lack of vitamin D3 is causing increases in prostate cancer. What is cancer? It is a cell that is not using its ion or gap channels. Look, I'm giving you a PhD in healing right now. This shit took me 20 years to study to get it. I can give it to you in 5 minutes. So the body is magnetic and it has GPS coordinating signals, and we know exactly what they are. We don't have to be spooky. Woo, wow, wow, wow. They're cell receptors. And there are 4 types of cell receptors that we just mentioned. And those 4 types of cell receptors are responding to everything that we do, including our weather. Now, let's go back to the sun issue so we can get it. So you can really get it. I want you to really get it. Let me go back. Let me pull up all my stuff. All right, here's a study that you can stop the screen share and oh, my bad. Let's share the screen. Here's a good place to start. Vitamin D and its target genes. The vitamin D metabolite 1A25 dihydroxy vitamin D3 is the natural high affinity ligand. Look up the word ligand. That's the receptor I'm talking about of the transcription factor vitamin D receptor. So the transcription factor is the factor that vitamin D connects to after it diffuses through the membrane to alter a gene. They're receptor molecular targets that are there that says, come fix us. Only vitamin D can vet us. I'm about to blow your mind on why I can do this. I started with the magnetic field, all right, and the receptors. And I dealt with the sun is an instrument. The sun, you can look this up. Go study the sounds that the sun makes. The sun is making sounds. So not only are you getting the light to trigger the vitamin D, you're getting sounds to play a symphony. So vitamin D receptor. In many tissues and cell types, VDR binds in a ligand-dependent fashion to thousands of gene loci and modulates. Via local chromatin changes, the expression of hundreds of primary target genes. Thus, the epigenome and transcriptome of VDR, that's vitamin D receptor, expressing cells is directly affected by vitamin D. Vitamin D target genes encode for proteins with a large variety of physiological functions, ranging from the control of calcium homeostasis, innate and adaptive immunity. Bingo! That's where I was going. To cellular differentiation. Now, if it's dealing with cellular differentiation, the varying of cells is dealing with ion channels and gap junctions. That's what controls that. This review will discuss VDR's binding to genomic DNA, as well as its genome-wide locations, interaction with partner proteins in the context of chromatin. This information will be integrated into a model of vitamin D signaling, explaining the regulation of vitamin D target genes. So it goes on and it talks about all the things that vitamin D does. All right. As far as indel interaction with cells, indel, intronic, and exonic interaction. Exons are the part that get expressed into proteins. Introns are not expressed. And when they do get expressed, it's a mutation. All right. And so what vitamin D is doing is vitamin D can go through and say, this is a disease, I need to correct it. And it works with other, it's a steroid. So it's now going to work with other parts of the cell to do that. It's going to trigger a communication network. So now what do steroids do? They communicate with cell receptors. And in order to communicate with cell receptors, what do you have to do? You have to change shape and sound. Woo. What changes shape the best in nature? What changes shape the best in nature? Liquid. We getting there. What's inside of a cell? Water. What's outside of the cell? Water. What is the sun? Liquid. So I'm about to give you some secrets I ain't never give out. When you go to music, you have 4 types of music, and they both are related to the 4 types of elements, which are the 4 types of basic atoms and the 4 cell receptors. I'm giving you something. I'm writing this in a dissertation now. I'm giving you something. But the drum, what is the drum? The drum is earth. The flute, the saxophone, the trumpet. What are they? Air. So we got earth, the drums, the beat, the 808. Each of these is connected to a system, by the way. There are 4 earth systems, 3 earth systems, 3 air systems, 3 fire systems, and 3 water systems. But I'm going somewhere with this so you can understand this, because we have a higher way of analyzing and diagnosing these things even than genetics. That's what I'm trying to get to. This is the secret shit in Arnold. But it's all good. So you got the wind instruments. You got the drum instruments. You got the fire instrument. What is the fire instrument? It's the voice, the MC, the singer. And lastly, you have the string instruments, which are what? Water. So, if you want to influence a cell the quickest, you use string instruments, violas, violins, cellos, all of the classical music that the Moors and Aboriginals brought to the world that Europeans tried to take as their classical music. They left you with the drum, which impacts the endocrine system, the digestive system, and the bones. They'll let you play a sax out of your mind, which is going to impact the lungs, the kidneys, and the bladder. All right. And the visceral nerve network that communicates back to the brain. All right. They left you with that. They even left you with the voice, which is going to impact the brain and endocrine system. Well, really the central nervous system. All right. The circulatory system and the muscular system. But they don't want you to teach your children string instruments to add in, because that's the last part. So you got the guitar, but when you start going into the violin and the cello, and my son plays the cello, the viola, and the violin. He has accelerated. My youngest son, he's about to be 12. He got a brother who's 16. He got an older sister who's 18. He got two 13-year-old sisters. Out of all the children, he's accelerating the fastest, and I'm watching it, and I'm studying all the factors of why. And I'm saying it's the string instruments. And so it's impacting the waters, the liquid. I haven't even got to where I'm going. I'm trying to build up to it. All right. By example. And so vitamin D, sound and shape. It is ligand dependent, meaning it's talking to the cell through the ligand network, but it's doing it through fats, lipids. So let's go to the nutrition real quick. What's the first thing they brought out? This fake vegan diet. Not that we shouldn't be eating plants. Of course we should be eating plants. Of course we should be eating fruits. But they got you juicing. You're taking all of the fiber out when you juicing is the worst. I'm going to do a whole lecture on juicing. Juicing is the worst thing that you could do. You're raising the glucose. You're taking all the fiber out, which means you're not feeding the microbiome the fiber that it needs, because it digests some of the glucose you're not going to use. So you have elevated glucose and sugar in the blood. And now what's happening? Your anti-aging DNA repair enzymes is all in shock because your muscles aren't using up all the glucose. And it sounds like a bad orchestra in your body. That's my point. So you need the lipids. You need the fats. Where are you going to get them from? How much fat is in a piece of fruit? Get a little bit more fat in certain vegetation or drupes, like avocado. Avocado is not a fruit, it's a drupe. And so now you're missing a whole part of your nutrition based on a CIA experiment called veganism. Oh, we can trace it back. So now vitamin D is fat soluble. All right. So you got to have the fats in order to get some of these fat soluble nutrients into the cell to talk. What are they doing? They're talking to the cell. Now let's go to how it's able to do it. No. Juicing has no place. Don't do it. Why are you doing it? You want to take liquids in? Take some water and citrus. Because you have to have a scientific purpose. The purpose of taking in fluids is to reduce solid food and to clean the epithelial tract again, the mucous membrane. You want to get it in a charged state. This is all science, I promise you. So the citrus is giving you the charged state for the membrane, which is what? What is it? What is the charged state going to do? What is it going to? It's going to do the same thing to blood. It's going to start repelling. You got the battery effect again. What is it going to repel? All the starch slime, all the plaque on the lining. Go take some lemon or lime, mix it with some water, then go get some water by itself. Put some syrup on your counter, leave it overnight. Leave it overnight. Spray the water on one and rub it off. Spray the citrus on the other. It's going to clean off faster because of the charge. The charge. I promise you, y'all don't want to juice. But hey, y'all can do as y'all please. I'm just giving you the best advice. So now, look. I'm getting to the vitamin D because the vitamin D does the repair. But how does it do? How does it do it? It's in the fat, so it has a shielding mechanism. That's one of the reasons why whenever you see me come here, I do lectures. And I know I'm going to be on this computer over an hour or so. I always wear these little glasses. I don't need glasses. I healed the torn retina that I had in my left eye. I do this because these are blue range frequencies, and the critical flicker frequency that they're using to run these computers, it damages tissues, sensitive tissues. Anyway, that's like putting fat over my eyes. But the point that I'm trying to make is that vitamin D can do this because of one thing. And it has everything to do with alchemy and the sun being liquid. What is the water on the sun? The water in your cells? What is it? Memory. The sun is sending you signals of memory to your body in the form of sound and light waves that have the ability to trigger and organize your body in a perfect symphony. So don't sit here and tell me Rh negative, which is missing ion receptors and gap junctions, is the original blood type, cosmopolitan blood type, when it can't even dance fully to the rhythm of the sun because it's missing something. But the sun can give it, through repeated replenishment, the ability to repair those receptors just with vitamin D. And we haven't even brought vitamin C in, vitamin A, vitamin E, each of which are also solar dependent. Also steroidal hormones. Your liver will make vitamin C just from you being in the sun. So what I'm trying to say to you is Rh negative blood is missing a receptor framework. That receptor framework communicates with everything in your biology. It causes differentiation. It makes the cell a battery so that it can have the charge to communicate through frequency with other cells, paracrine operations. And so when you're missing that, you can't have the cosmic blood of the gods with O negative blood. You are missing things that need repair. And we have been on this planet for a long time. So epigenetics says that we can have injury to these little spacesuits that we have, but all around us is nature, the sun, the clouds, the microorganisms that they drop, the soil with the rich nutrients, the food that is produced. It can all help us heal if we are aware of how to do that. But if we get pseudo information from online, started by yours truly, we'll be around here thinking that Some people got rhesus monkey blood. Some people don't got rhesus monkey blood. It's related to RH factor. And I got the cosmic matriarchal goddess blood, O negative. And you are absolutely wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Now, it doesn't mean something is wrong with you. Just like somebody might have balding in their genetics. Yes, balding is in your genetics. You can heal it, though. You can have a propensity for certain cancers. I can see that in my matriarchal line. Through confirmations through each generation, it got stronger. And now I'm helping my sisters and my daughters avoid those things. And so what we are saying to you is it's okay if your body made a mistake, because your body has the memory to correct it. It's a small thing for the body. It's a small thing. I don't care what the ailment is. If your body forgets something, you forget how to heal. And you have to get reminders. The sun is one of your greatest reminders of how to heal. That's why we are making tribal towns. That's why we got Sun Village, and we're trying to get people to invest in the indigenous movement. We want you to live in the South, in the places where it's really warm. No, a smoothie is not juicing, because you still have the skin of the fruit. You need the skin of the fruit in order to digest glucose properly, so it does not become an injury to you. Glucose can become an injury. We need to be able to live in warm places. We have to have a plan, because you are being attacked via a plan. And us talking about RH negative blood is just to also get you to understand that anybody can come on and go viral online. They're still using my viral information from 20 years ago. They're still using my viral information from 20 years ago. That was absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. I did not know what I was talking about. Now I know better. And we have videos on the Patreon. That already deal with nutrition. So JB, you can go right to the Patreon or to the YouTube site, and you can do that. And JB, hold your $200,000. Don't invest it with none of these niggas, because it's a lot of scamming going on out here. All right? It's a lot of scamming. Invest in yourself, meaning build your skill network up, your knowledge network, course network, whatever it is that you need to build up so it turns into immediate entrepreneurialism. RH negative does not mean you prefer cold weather. Nobody ever said that, and nobody is even indicating that. So I hear y'all repeating the stuff from all these people online, and that's okay. Y'all gonna have to work that out. RH negative is not cosmic matriarchal goddess blood. It is a slight mutation that needs an adjustment to fix. And I'm telling you that these people are already in the fix-it business for their rich groups of people. I know you prefer hot weather. That has nothing to do with your RH factor. Your RH factor does not give you a weather preference. All right. That's all we're saying. And I don't want to belabor this point. We're at 1 hour and 39 minutes. I'm closing this out at 1:45. Let's throw some questions in the chat, because we closing this out in 6 minutes. Oh, if you want to talk about investment in the tribal towns, I'm going to recommend you wait. And the reason why I'm recommending you wait is because of two reasons: organization and structure. I will never tell you to invest something in, even if I'm a part of it, if it's not in its best state. And it absolutely is not yet. But it's coming. Give us some time. If you want to understand the diet to consume, you should go to the Patreon and get the books, the 2 books, An Advanced Guide to Healing. All right. I don't even want to leave out to go get the book. But y'all know the book. Matter of fact, let me pull up a picture of the book. Let's see if I got it on a picture. I'm going to pull up a picture of the book just so y'all can see it. You need this book, and you can get it off of the Patreon or the website. This book right here will give you every answer you need to nutrition and supplementation, with hundreds and hundreds of recipes in it. Psoriasis can be caused by many different things. It could be caused by pesticides. You want to buy all your food organic. That will adversely affect the liver and cause the psoriasis. It could be caused by not having a filter on your shower, and therefore the shower water is irritating your skin. It can be caused by allergens that you're eating, dairy, flax seeds, anything that has aromatase in it. All right. Some of the things that we think are superfoods are not. Soy. If you want to take a health test, you got 3 types. We can do the birth chart, we can do the bioscan in person, or you can do the DNA methylome test. But the DNA methylome test costs a lot of money. All I need is your saliva for the DNA methylome test. The bioscan you have to do in person with a bioscanner. Birth chart analysis you can do by setting up a consult. I don't know when you say I bought the first one. I don't know what the first one is, and I don't know what the second one is. How do you heal baldness? I never heard anybody heal baldness. We have a lecture on the page that talks about how to heal baldness on the Patreon page. You can take a full medical course by going straight to the website and signing up. I'll drop the website. I'll go to courses. Let me show you what I'm doing so you can see it. All right, so let's show you how to sign up for a course just in case anybody is interested. All right, we're here at the Aboriginal Medical Association website. So you go to the homepage. All right, every course is at the store. Click on the store. Go to courses and certifications right here. And they're all here. Level 1 course, level 2 course, dissertation. All of it is here. I'll put this in the chat just so you can see it. All right, let me see. How did Rh negative mutation begin? Rh negative mutation began from some epigenetic factor. That's the only way you can destroy receptors. And it could be a multiple. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I have indication scientifically on how mutations happen. And so this would have to be a point mutation. And there are 3 types of point mutations. I covered that in another series, the 5 types of mutations. So we know how through mutations it could have occurred. And then if it's a point mutation like that, then we're dealing with some type of external epigenetic factor that is related to pathogens causing the change. And because it's deleterious, yeah. But that's technical work that we can do. We're actually doing it already, but I don't like to put that kind of information out until it's very, very solid. But it's a deleterious mutation caused by a point mutation, which changes the amino acid sequence because there's missing or jumbled codons or nucleotides. I put the website up there for y'all. Do you have a price list for all your health tests? I have a price list for each one, but not for like all of them. Each one has its own price, and it's on the website. What are you using the diatomaceous earth to do? Using the agriculture, using it on your skin? Learning string instruments will improve your memory and your overall intelligence. That was my point. My mom thinks the government is after her because of her Rh negative blood type. Should I tell her she's crazy now? Yeah, the government is not after her, but they do want you to give a lot of blood because, there's not a lot of people with that blood type. All right, so I got the psoriasis part. How can I full medical definite great book? Does the second sun in our solar system have greater iron emission? I don't know. But based on the indigenous traditions, because I can't test that, based on the indigenous traditions from the Dogon and from the Hopi, I would say yes, because iron was a big part of that discussion. The book that I use and I recommend is called Behold a Pale Fox. And if you read that book, it has everything to do with the second sun and the iron that's associated with it. That's a big part of it. Are hallucinogens from shrooms because the body is attempting to break the fungi? No. Whenever you have what you call an hallucination, I hate to use the word hallucination when it comes to these plants because that's disrespect to the plant. I'm not saying you're disrespecting it, but they use language in order to coerce us to think a certain way about a thing. These are not hallucinations. This is improvement in critical flicker frequency of human senses, particularly in the eye. Now when we're talking flicker frequency, and you are able to see or hear things beyond the normal spectrum. I'll give you an example. The reason why cats can land on their feet is because of this flicker frequency that they have. All right. And to have the agility that they have. The reason why dogs can hear higher than you. All right. That's all connected to sensory perception. And sensory perception is in memory through use, which causes adaptive polymorphisms, meaning you use something more, you do it over again, you increase its abilities. And so dogs can hear like that because of hunting and having to use it as a survival mechanism. So these plants, shrooms, cannabis, lotus, any of them, hape, any of these increase sensory perception. All right. And so real shrooms are I don't even want to Psilocybin, which is the substance that creates the enhanced perception, it has nothing to do with fungi. Let's just put that. That's the best way to say it. And so these are not hallucinations. It's not because we're breaking down the fungi. You can use a toxic substance, but it has to have something in it that's non-toxic in order to create this reaction. And so what the body can do, it's like when you exercise. When you exercise, you can damage the body and it increases the DNA repair enzymes. So you go through that soreness and whatever, and then next thing you know, you got a little bit more muscle. The DNA has added proteins to increase muscle mass because now you went through capillarization. Capillarization is when you're exercising and you build more capillary networks. So now it's more volume. All right. So the muscle will increase in size. There's more water there. There's more proteins there, etc. So the body can use that as a repair, injury to repair ratio. So the plants can do that sometimes. So a part of what you're saying is true, but I just don't want to confuse it. You can have a toxic substance, but you have to have the psilocybin in it. That's the converse. And now you get a whole adverse reaction repair. And human history is based on our ability to overcome a challenge. And those challenges show biologically and then socially. So when you're stressed about something, you're problem solving, you're thinking through the problem and it creates stress slightly. But your body gives a repair response to that if it has the ability to and the pattern of doing that. And so now you end up increasing circulation to the prefrontal cortex. You got more circulation, you got more nutrients, and now the cells start talking to each other. Got the ion channels open, and as they start talking to each other, cells can perform creativity, which is the ability to envision solving a problem, figuring out an answer to something. All right. That's in your memory because it's all around us. The sun is doing that right now. The planets are doing it. Nature is doing it. All right. The government got your head. I don't know what that means. Dr. Sebi taught us how to cure gray hair, but he still had gray hair. Yeah, that's a problem. You can't be walking around with gray hair saying you can heal gray hair. Can you give one food for the epithelial? Well, the epithelial membranes deal with citrus the best. All citrus, and grapefruit is at the top with lime next, and then go down to lemons and other stuff. But grapefruit is excellent for the epithelial. I used to sell a whole product on gray hair, but now I just teach it because I can't, my staff is already low as it is. We can't make all this stuff. And I'm not here to, be a drug dealer. I want people to learn gradually how to make these things yourself. So we taught people, how to do these things themselves. If you want to learn biochemistry, do you need to learn chemistry and biology first? No, not necessarily. No, not at all. It's just depending on how the class is set up. Oh, listen, y'all already contributing, If y'all want to hit the Cash App, y'all can do that, though. I put it in the chat. That's the Cash App. If you don't have Cash App, Apple Pay. Hey, but look, here's the deep part about it, right? We as a family, because everybody is here now, we got, hundreds of people on here. We will never, ever, ever ever, ever have to deal with RH myths again. That's how we solve it. That's how we solved it already. We will never have to deal with RH myths. We can get beyond it. We know we can heal it. Go out there and get you some sunlight. Get some of these DNA repair foods. Get the hydroxytyrosol. Get the stuff that we've been teaching you. And let's help each other and share the information with your family, because your family needs not run into young Pharaoh, who a young brother. I love the brother. He's excitable, but these people, whoever else, Mr. Inky thinks he's my enemy. I don't know how you're going to think you my enemy, bro. Like, are you kidding me? Any of these people teaching this, we can correct it. We can help them. Sometimes when they go viral, they think it's real, in the sense of real in the context of truth and permanent reality. No, that's just you confusing other people. And guess what? Confusion in a body is cancer, because they shut down the ion channels and the cells start sending disruptive communication to each other. So we have 4 levels of certification, so you're not going to finish that fast. But you could, You could take 1 year and just study and finish it all. Level 1 would be like 10 weeks. Level 2 be another 10 weeks. Level 3 is your dissertation. That'll be another 10 weeks. We had 30 already. Level 4 is going to be about 20 weeks. So that you could do that all in a year, but I wouldn't recommend it. You got to give yourself some time to experience the data. You don't want no brains to blow up. What caused the I don't know. That's like, okay, we know what caused the epigenetic mutation in sickle cell, right? It's a pathogen that's in mosquitoes. So epigenetics can become genetic. But I don't personally know what triggered the RH factor to lose its receptor framework. I know around what could have happened. I don't know when it happened, or, that type of thing. I have a question about the quantum biological scanner analysis. How does it work? And is it something worth investing in? It works just like we just laid out. Every cell is a battery. So it's able to measure that charge and give output on the battery operations of cells. By sending a low frequency electrical pulse in, it gets electric feedback. And then it publishes a report in different parts of your anatomy and physiology based on that. Well, yes, it's already on sale for discount on the Patreon. So if you go on there, you'll see it's on discount. I think it's like $40. In respect to the advanced guide for healing the rest of people. And here's the thing. Learning their terminology and taxonomy is a part of the problem. That's a huge part of the problem. Curriculum design is hypnosis. And that could be positive or negative. Because look at the words we kept going over. Even the word hallucinogen. Hallucinogen. Why are these things called hallucinogen when hallucinogen means that you're seeing something that's not real? See how this goes? And then we start entraining ourselves. So we need good teachers who can understand curriculum building and pedagogy, which is the science of how you teach something and why you teach it, like you teach it, and what terminology you use. Because they're spelling you to death. Classy West say, yeah, y'all trying to figure us out. Hey, it's all good. You got some static in that nervous system you got to get out. Because when the truth hits you and you try to resist, resistance is not what the earth does in its motion around the sun. It's smooth. What about terpenes and connections to melanin, the 6 structure molecules that carbon has? What about it? Terpenes can be found anywhere, and they can interact with melanin on many different levels. All right, so I think we're done. If you purchased the course, you should have had a download for it. But you can send any messages about coursework if you are in need of a curriculum to our text hotline, and I'll make sure that we take care of you. That's our text hotline right there. You got any questions about a course, or you purchased something and you missing something, you need to get started, send us a text at that line. I have to say, I like the growth you have shown, brother. No debating, just getting the information out. Yeah. We grow over time. You know what I mean? I still debate though. I don't mind. I'm not a person that doesn't debate. Like, we can debate politics. You have people right now who are changing federal laws who are debating those things. You have scientists who are debating different theories and new theories and changing old theories. Debating is not a bad thing. It's just the context in which you do it. Do you believe we can reach physical immortality? In a way, we already are, if we understand. But individual immortality, I think that's kind of strange. Who would want to live forever? It's kind of strange. You want to be here forever in the same form. This spot. Yeah, y'all trying to figure RH negative people out. Just leave us alone. Y'all are figured out. We're not trying to do nothing. That's your emotions talking. Do you have any negatives about food grade diatomaceous earth? I don't have any negatives depending on how you use it. I am B positive. Okay. Can we tell by behavior who is RH negative and who is RH positive? Phenotype comes through physiology. There are some indicators with the ears and the fingernails, which RH factors that I have found, but human behavior? Something to study. I have not thought about writing the second volume of Star Prophecy. I'm taking a break from writing books. I think I'm on 36 now. Yes, Blue Lotus does get you high. Absolutely. But it's the best high I ever had. It's better than shrooms to me because of how easy it is and how instant it is. And it also depends on who is preparing the lotus, because everybody don't prepare lotus the same. Shrooms will bring out whatever is in you. If you're schizophrenic, it might intensify it. You have a bad trip. I don't think you understand mutation. I already gave you. When you go back and you play back the video, you're going to see what the 4 receptors were that align to the 4 instruments. Our sensory perception is based on our 4 receptors on all of our cells. It's even what your emotions are based on. Your emotions are based on the receptors on your cells. That's how you feel. You believe it's another way, but you don't know how intelligent a cell is. So when you're angry because of an outside force, that is a transformation and a confirmation on those cell receptors that has a memory. All right. This is real evolution taking place. How much grams of protein do you eat per day? I change it based on my types of workout. I do know we can live 1,000 years. Pretty easy. Yes, I have taken entheogens. Left and right hemisphere brain connecting how? It's already connected through the corpus callosum. That right hemisphere, left hemisphere brain stuff is pseudo. Catalase helps with gray hair. Yes. Yes, the sun is the key. Okay, I'm glad somebody asked this question. Thank you, Joshua. If a person is getting off blood pressure medication, how long should they wait to eat grapefruit? Do not wait. Eat it instantly because it's going to help the liver detox the adverse effects of the blood pressure medication. The reason why they tell you not to eat grapefruit is because it has antioxidants that neutralize the impact of the blood pressure medication, which you want to do. And the citrus is going to give you vasodilation anyway, so it's going to take the high blood pressure and bring it right on down, along with other things that you're doing in your lifestyle. BMI is sort of correct. We are going to be a little bit larger though with our muscle and bone density. You're supposed to naturally live as long as you are scientifically aware of how to keep yourself alive. Nature is a variant. Mr. Hank Thrasher? No, I don't. A drug Pharaoh and lost his mind? I don't know. I don't know if Pharaoh lost his mind or not. I have no idea. Definitive information on brain structure. I'm tired of people saying one side is male. Well, they've typed the over 3,000 cells in the brain. And so, just like they have the human genome, they've done a neural network. And so, there's a website for that. I'll share it online on social media. But yeah, they've typed all the different types of cells in the brain and the neural networks, which is how they're able to help with the AI stuff. But yeah, that right left brain hemisphere stuff, that's old gibberish. Sickle cell, does it have something to do with sodium, potassium? No, sickle cell has it could be connected, but it has something to do with a mutation where there's a substitute for a codon. One single letter substitution. And it needs to be availing there. What are your thoughts on human dessing? I don't know what human dessing is. Arrogance is blinding. Worldview, Western curriculum is witchcraft. All right, so we had 2 hours. I think we have went far enough. I'm going to save this, so it will be on the Patreon, and it will be for the YouTube subscribers. Y'all be able to watch this. Oh yeah, Sonetta's wife. Well, I didn't want to disrespect the man's wife, so I just left. I left peacefully, because we wanted to do something on the Bible for Black History Month. But she was gaslighting intentionally, and that's his wife. I'm not about to be online arguing with any woman, and definitely not the man's wife. Even if she is out of order, you can have that. I'm gonna go home and make me some quinoa and chill. I'm not about to fight. All right. So I've answered as many questions as I can. We're going to be back here doing more lives this year. But this video will be saved on the Patreon page. It will be saved on the YouTube membership subscriber page. And hopefully y'all learned something and keep studying. Take what I put out there and go back and study it. It's a pretty easy subject. This was not a complex subject to study. We did get into some complexities, but I promise you that it gets way more complex because the stuff that we're going to bring you is going to make all this advanced science much easier. It's going to make it easier. All right. The debate about Indians and Moors the same, we already covered that. That's a dumb debate, and it's a debate that's not for the information. That's coming from a particular group of American Indians who don't like Moorish history. And they don't want to be associated personally. That's it's almost a religious question because you don't have a choice if there was admixture over thousands of years. So, yeah. So they can have that debate. All right, we already settled that debate. I need a RH negative wife. Oh man. Hey man, I already used that beat. I was playing with that beat. I made a song called "I'm a Rock Star" from the beat you gave me. I'm gonna go back and remix it and master it though. Put some more ad libs on it. That was fun though. That was a hot beat. I appreciate that, God. There's so many questions here. I mean, y'all just going. I thank everybody. Hopefully, I didn't say anything to disrespect anyone. I just try to keep it focused on the science so that we can all grow. I'm going to continue to do these lectures, these live streams. I think the live streams for the Patreon people and the YouTube members are very good because we get to talk, y'all get to interact, and I do best in an environment where you're asking me questions. Oh, no, that's all right. I know it's more questions and more questions that's going to come, but I mean, I can't answer them all today, but I will be back, and I'm going to try to do a live stream once a week. All right. So everybody, this lecture will be up. Thank you for your time today. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll make sure within an hour or so that these lectures are posted so you can continue to study. All right. Peace, family.